6 years.
So
So
you're,
I was
you're
like, I got this.
yeah, there you go.
I was like, I'm gonna.
So team, you guys are live and ready to go. So
All right.
if you want to officially
Yeah.
and start.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
What's up, everybody? My name is Florence, and I'm here with my amazing agent, Jesse Simon.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. And today we're talking about my very first art show. And I'm super stoked. I mean, time has flown by since the inception of me actually, having this opportunity to show my art. It was like getting, that opportunity, and now it's like, it's right here.
I mean, I'm super proud of you for putting the time and the effort into it. These things always look so easy from the outside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we always talk about that here, in that, like, it looks easy because people make it look easy. But especially with, so, I mean, you used to go to all the events and everything with other people's children.
Yeah.
The amount of time and effort that goes to into a group art show specifically, because there's so many personalities.
You have to work with a whole gang of people and be on the same page with everybody.
Yeah, which people know that you can't even get on the same page with everybody about having what you're gonna eat for lunch half the time.
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah.
So that's what's really wild. Everyone, Francis has been working with me for what, about 2.5 years now, Francis?
Yeah,
Almost
we started a different agency, and I remember right when this is a whole Ford thing. I was when I signed with Ford, I was God, was I 20 at the time?
I think so. I mean, you definitely weren't 21, but you were always sort of. I don't know. I the only term that I know for it is old soul, and that, like, you didn't seem like a kid.
Yeah.
It was like you looked like a kid, but didn't seem like a kid.
Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I feel like is predominant within the modeling industry, because so many of you are thrown into things at such a young age that when it comes to traveling and being thrown into. I mean, that's probably was good for preparation for the art show, because every single day with modeling, whenever you're on set with new people.
Yes.
It's like the same reason why you can walk in here and meet Blair and Tony for the first time and trust that they're going to be doing this and you're going to be doing this,
and this is how it works. People all the time is like what I do, and with my line of work, it's basically, I mean, castings, auditions, like meeting clients. You're basically going on a first-time interview every single time.
Yeah.
And when you go to jobs, it's a completely new group of people. You're in a different location almost every time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just having to, have that skill of being able to, collaborate and work with people of all walks of life, different personalities. Working and just, being on that same page.
Yeah, and you also have to, it's kind of like being on a stressful shoot, especially when the producers are freaking out and things aren't going the right way. Like, you have to have that bouncer sort of de-escalation sort of mentality.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, you have to, you can't get caught up in whatever's happening. You just have to see through it. Yeah, you have to roll with it. So speaking of rolling with it, I don't want to get too off subject, although we could talk about modeling forever, because
I can talk about modeling for like the whole day. I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I can talk about this all day, but the art stuff has been really cool, because, just with modeling, I started when I was 17, and when I started, I was working at an omelet house, and this was in the East Bay, it was in Pleasanton, and my dad actually got me the job because I was 15 and a half, and I didn't even have my driver's license yet.
That sounds like me. My first job was a celebrity car wash, is what it was called, and I was 15. Yeah, that was excellent.
So he got me this job, and I just lived in such a small town, Danville. I had no idea about modeling. I mean, I was doing photography since I was 14, and I had photography classes in high school where we had our own dark room, so learned how to do that. Always messed around with film, still do.
Yeah.
that's always been like like a huge form of self-expression for me.
Yeah, it's been very helpful for me too, because I know you've shot some of our people, and it's been great.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Michelle, actually, one of the agents at our agency at LA Models, she sent me an email and she was asking me to shoot Johnny from the men's board.
Oh, cool.
And she told me, Johnny, he does mostly acting. He doesn't really have a lot of stuff in his book, and we kind of want to make him more masculine, and we kind of want to like rough him up a little bit. So, I thought maybe you could shoot him, and here's some of his pictures. And one of the pictures was of him sitting in a hospital bed, going like this with 2 casts on each arm.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
I remember when that happened. Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
so Johnny's an actor who broke both of his arms snowboarding. I think he might have been like semi-pro snowboarder or something like that.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, I just laughed because I was like, this is how I know Michelle is doing exactly what she's meant to be doing, because I get people all the time just from like my YouTube videos and just talking to different people about.
Yeah, that's one thing actually, everybody, before I forget, and I don't ever have a chance to call this out, but Francis has a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
If you just type in Francis Florence on YouTube, just in the search bar, I'm assuming it's the first one that comes up.
It's really, I mean, if you do have any questions about what it's like to be a model, that's a really great place to go, because she talks about everything, really, even like beauty routines and stuff like that. But she's been doing it, she's kind of OG doing it since before it became a thing where clients were calling us asking for girls to do beauty routines. Yeah. She's always been doing it as a sort of inspirational thing, especially when it came to like products that were humane in the way that they were produced and whatnot, which I've always respected, because that's who I am. Yeah.
Well, I started doing the YouTube stuff because I was thinking, when I first started modeling, I wish I had someone on YouTube or a friend to talk to me about, just give me tips, just tell me what it's like, tell me what I should do, shouldn't do, what's the best way to approach an agency, a photographer for a test. When I was first starting out, there were so many questions that I had that I couldn't ask anybody, because I grew up in such a small town. I was thinking that the modeling industry was LA, it was New York, it was Milan, it was Japan. I did New York. I didn't think it was anywhere in my vicinity.
Yeah.
So when I first started, it was funny because I was the only person in my school that was doing any sort of fashion type modeling
or anything, probably, right?
Or of that sort. So I just kind of had to wing it, and I mean, I just had to figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
And because I had never really thought about modeling to begin with, that was just like not on my radar at all. I actually was thinking of doing photography, but I didn't really know what kind of photography I wanted to get into. I just loved taking pictures, and also thought about being a hairstylist, and my senior year I actually thought about being a therapist.
Yeah.
So there was that.
Yeah. Well, there's still time for all of that stuff, right? And actually, all of those, it's funny, all of those things that you're talking about are skill sets that are really important for what you do. Even if you're doing your own hair, it's
I mean, I used to cut, so like,
I always love your style too. Let's show the people what's going on here.
Got the Cuban link. We also have a lot of my jewelry, actually. Little side note, this ring that I have on my pinky and this bracelet, all the women on my mom's side of the family all have this ring and this bracelet.
I see that ring.
So it has my initials in the middle. And my boy, Jonathan, he has made a bunch of jewelry for me. He made this tooth.
Yeah, can we see the tooth there? Yeah. That's tight.
Yeah, he made the tooth. He's made this other signet ring for me, and he's such a cool dude.
Yeah, I mean, the artistry with all of that jewelry is really fantastic. So I got us off topic again, art. Let's talk about your art show.
So basically how this all came about was I've had this typewriter for years, like probably since I was 18 or 19. My dad gave it to me, and it was his from the late 70s, early 80s.
Is this one of the ones that looks like it's like a almost kind of plastic, but it looks like a computer? But yeah, cool.
It's the one that plugs into the wall.
Yeah, I love those.
Has that like sketchy little plug that you're like, I might get electrocuted.
Yeah. I used to have one of those too.
So I had that, and I mean, I actually used it for a long time. I would write, and then I would transfer the writing over to the typewriter. And I love the typewriter because, I mean, I love writing just in a journal, in a diary. I actually have like a book called 300 Writing Prompts, and they're just really simple questions, but they're all so thought-provoking.
Yeah, and it'll get you going.
Yeah,
that would be really fun to bring that in here at some point and do like an exercise with just a group, like 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, and I've taken on road trips, like the trip I was talking about earlier. When we were going from, I believe, Canada to Seattle, I was using that book, and while we were camping at Mount Baker, I was just by myself writing in that prompt
Yeah, that's
book.
fantastic.
And it's a good exercise for me because it's funny because like all my writing is like so deep, it's just so emotional. Like it's never just like surface level like happy things. It's always like talking about losses and pain and depression and how I just like really pulling the shit out from like the deepest parts of my soul. So it's funny because
but you got to get it out though.
Yeah,
I mean that's what's excellent about what you're saying is that you can't just let that stuff manifest and chill.
No.
Because it'll bleed into. I mean I love Jesse and these types of things because I'm like I always have I'm like and then I'm like, when do you practice that, dude? But yeah.
I practice it all the time. I mean, the 300 prompts and my therapist, so we got that on lock. But
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun because it's a cool exercise. But the typewriter, so I have been using it for years. I'll write, I'll do poems. Sometimes I'll even transfer things that I have written in a journal, just on the typewriter. So just because I love just the whole like aspect of it's just something that like no one really uses for obvious reasons.
I'll like we were talking about it earlier when we were talking about analog, right? You're in a generation where it was just hard to have physical things in your hands. Everything was digital from the beginning. And I just think I understand that same thing. That's why I have a hard time buying a book I bought 2 books on my phones that are fantastic book, and I just like because I'm not going to carry books on my trip, and I'm like I hate it. I hate reading on my phone.
When I take notes, I never sometimes like if I'm in a hurry, I'll pull out my phone and like we'll take notes just like on my iPhone. But if I need to remember something, I write it down every time. But I've had this typewriter. The only thing that was like an issue for me was I just hated what it looked like, just color-wise. Like it was white at one point, it yellowed.
Yeah, because, I was gonna say it's probably nice yellow.
Shit.
Yeah.
So and then it's just like this weird off robin's egg blue that was probably like really pretty at some point like 40 years ago, but not now. So I just remember wanting to like have it out in my apartment and wanting to like have it out in the open, but it just was like such an eyesore that I was like, I'm gonna paint this.
Yeah.
So that was like the initial like I'm gonna just paint this, and I have always painted. It's always been more of like a therapeutic thing, just painting and having music on. And
well, when you're concentrating, right, it's like that's what climbing is to me. You're concentrating on the painting. You're in the moment.
Yeah.
It's like certain acts like that force you to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And otherwise it's easy to be on a bicycle ride, but you might be thinking about a million different things.
For sure. Oh, and when I used to live in the Bay, I used to go through the Caldecott Tunnel, and I would just remember getting out on the opposite side and be like, wait, what the fuck, like, how did I just
I
get here?
missed the whole thing because I was thinking about
like
everything
going on
else.
autopilot.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of like painting for me.
So you painted the typewriter, and then what happened next?
So I painted this typewriter, and originally I was just gonna do just like one color, just overall, and then put it like one color. I can't even. It's hard to explain. You would kind of have to see it at the art show, but I just wanted to do just something really simple, just to switch up the color. But then I had this idea. I was like, well, what if I do something on the very top of it? Because it's like a flat surface, and then also on the back side of it, because it's a flat surface on the back besides like the area where there's vents.
Yeah.
And so I have done this before. I've done this for a while. I remember being in school and taking my writing, taking lyrics, taking whatever, and my form of whenever I do any sort of art, for the most part, is taking what I write, or just taking, like I said, lyrics or whatever, and kind of using the font and just the way that I write it as like almost just, that being the art itself.
Yeah.
Because, I have some pieces where, you'll look at it, and because it's written like all over the canvas or on the pants that I have or on the shoes.
Yeah. So what are some of the pieces? So you have the typewriter in the show.
Yeah, I have the typewriter. I have the pants and the shoes, and I have my Frida painting, and really all of those.
Oh
pieces.
yeah. So looking at Frances, you might see this, but she gets thrown into shoots a lot of times where she looks like Frida.
Yeah, that's a huge thing I've gotten my whole life. And it's funny because I actually, kind of gave into it just for a gag. And I started dressing up as Frida like almost every year for Halloween. And when I used to have a restaurant job, I used to work at the Evely here in LA on Sunset.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I dressed up as Frida, and everybody, oh my God,
lost their minds.
Just lost their mind. Oh my God, it was funny. So I've gotten that, and what I've always thought was cool about Frida is that, obviously she has, during her lifetime, and all the time that she spent creating her art, she was painting herself and her own interpretation of herself. And part of my art and part of my writing and all of it, like if I'll have a lot of my original writing on a desk at the art show.
Oh, cool.
And
that's great.
A lot of it revolves around finding my own identity, just being confused about why I'm even here, who I am, like what kind of impact do I want to have on this planet and this earth, and just wanting to find my purpose. And that's always been something that's kind of been in the back of my head throughout my whole life. Is just, I'll be just totally fine, and then my brain's like, what's your life purpose? And I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
just after you figure out what you're going to have for breakfast, please figure out your life purpose.
Yeah, it's like the anxiety thing where it's like, it's time. And you're like, for what? And you're just like,
well, that's the hard part with that, and that's everybody.
Yeah.
Because, like, think about it, 5 years ago, your life purpose in your head was different than it is now, right? It's just going to keep changing.
If you told me 8 years ago that I would be modeling, I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And you know what? If you told me 8 years ago that I would be a modeling agent, still, I'd be like, no, that's just a phase.
Yeah.
It's what I love about what's happening right now with the people that I represent, and a lot of it is selfishly revolves around who I want to be as a person.
Yeah.
Is that I am now sitting here with a girl that I represent who does fashion stuff. She does all kinds of things, but at the same time, she gets to be herself. In that, the way that you dress, the tooth, piece, like all of these different things.
Yeah.
That was not possible, and that was part of the reason why I wanted out of the business for so long when I was younger. Is that I'm like, I don't want to build people. I just want to meet people that I find that are interesting, and then promote them as who they are.
Yeah.
You know? And it just there wasn't a space for that.
For sure.
And now it's just like,
I totally get
and
that.
now it's like, if you don't know who you are, figure it out. It's almost stressful, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't have a personal style, figure out your personal style, which I think is kind of like sad, because everybody's got to get to that when they get to that.
Yeah.
But thankfully for me, I just get to find people who are, they don't have to be artists. They could be into anything, you know? It's just that like, there's a, like,
That's what I love about Other People's Children, is that not only, I remember going to an Other People's Children show, and thinking it's not just, you know, photographs on a wall. It's just people that have shit going on the side, and they're cool as fuck, and what they do, they're super passionate about whatever they do, and you know what they do, you know, to, you know, put food on the table isn't their identity.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about that.
Yeah, what I liked about it the most too was that, and what we continue to do is that we bring together different communities, because the whole Other People's Children thing, you know, just on the most basic level, when you read Other People's Children, it should invoke the fact, like the thought that, hey, these are other people's children, meaning like, you may not get the way this person dresses.
For sure.
You may not get the way that this person does art. You may not like this person's music, but like, it doesn't entitle you to treat them like shit.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
Like,
sure.
like have your, you know, like, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but like, you know, like, our opinion at Other People's Children is that we should support everyone that's trying to do something with their lives, you know? And
For
like,
sure.
I think that we were able to encapsulate that in the shows and stuff there, because it would be hilarious that there would be like these skate kids, and then like, you know, like random, like one time I was sitting there looking at an art piece that was there, and it was like it was a picture shot by one of the artists that was presenting there, and it was a stripper, and it was shot like, you know, it was for Valentine's Day. Remember the Valentine's Day party? So everything was very sexy, and like.
I remember that picture.
I'm blanking on Sean's last name, and now I'm gonna feel really bad. But Sean shot this, and he also shot like the Nike Cortez campaign. He's a super cool dude. But I'm sitting there and I'm staring at it, and there's all these like skate kids, and I'm busy telling them that, hey, you can't smoke weed in our gallery. I don't care if you smoke weed, live your life, but like, you can't do it where like the faucets are gonna come on.
Yeah, it's gonna look like a smoke machine that smells like weed, and how'd that get there?
Yeah, and also like what if like you set up and like the sprinkling system.
The sprinklers are gonna go off and ruin all the art.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there like waving my finger at these kids, and then I look to the right, and it's the CEO of like Merrimack sitting there like this, and I'm like, what is happening? But it was just like it was just a place where people were able to come and just kind of like come and be together, and
I love that show.
It was inviting and all these other things, you know. And like, the thing is that you guys are all doing this on your own. Like, we're just facilitators of a space, and like, but like, it makes us feel good that even us doing that and helping facilitate.
Oh yeah.
That. How much it means to you all, you know, and like,
for sure.
And like,
I'm super grateful, honestly, because there's not a lot of agencies out there that are willing to, you know, just nurture talent. And there's you know, just like how you were saying earlier, like, times are changing so quickly, and it's like you have this illusion of clients, for sure, and just, you know, the industry in general. It's like you have this illusion of choice, where it's like you just have so many people to pick from, and so many you know, different models, and you know, with social media, you know, that kind of clouds everything with like numbers, and you know, traffic to people's platforms and all that.
Yeah, and you know what, like, really is like bugs me about the industry now, and I think that it bugs my kids, because just the way that they act and the way kind of art they put out, right, is that we all got into an industry that was designed to be very subjective, and that, like, you know, creatives got to have their opinions. Sometimes it was some people were giving too much power, and that's always an issue. But what has happened, you know, but at least within that, it's like you were allowed to have your own taste, or you were able to, like, you could differentiate people's artwork when it comes to the way that they shoot, or the way that they style, or the way that they the creative behind a whole campaign or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, because of analytics on social media, everything is objective in that, like you know, people are brands and companies and kids, and it especially hurts me when I see the kids worrying about it like crazy.
Oh, I just
is that
made
like
a
you're
dinner reservation last night for my boyfriend's birthday, and the restaurant is asking for my social media.
Oh, it's completely insane.
I mean,
I've
gone to like jobs where, you know, my social media handle is like on a giant poster.
And this isn't to like get a free table. This is just to get a table.
It's just to get a table. Literally just to get a reservation.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, crazy.
That's like
I
the
laughed.
suckiest thing I've ever heard.
I genuinely saw it, and I just started laughing. So I was like, "What the hell?" Like,
yeah. Okay. So now, like, right, you're looking at campaigns, and when people are doing the creative around it, they're not like, it's not designed. It's designed to be like a buffet, or like something that's like really like anyone can consume.
Yes.
And because you have to, because like it's got to line up. Like we got to have this many impressions, and we got to have this much, like whatever.
It's all.
And what is the
numbers
conversion?
And analytics and all
yeah,
that.
and it's like, I here's the thing is that I look to fashion because I like, if I wanted, so like when I'm selling, it forces us as agents into a position where like, and I just refuse to do it. That's why we're sitting here doing this weird thing in front of a green screen showing your art show stuff. But like I refuse to do it because I don't ever want to be, you know, signing people based on numbers.
No.
And because like if I want something based on something that's like statistical, then I consider that when I'm buying insurance.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to ever have to consider that when they're using a human being.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's just,
which is so rare, because I mean that's something that I've always respected you for, is the fact that, I mean, what I was just saying about Michelle is like, I knew exactly when she sent me those pictures of Johnny that she was doing exactly what she was meant to be doing, because I get all these people, as I was saying earlier, that ask me like, do I need to wear makeup to this open call? Do I need to wear makeup to a casting? Like when I meet this agent, I have a meeting, you know, are they okay with me wearing concealer? And you have Johnny laying on a hospital bed going like, hey, and Michelle's like, that kid could model.
Yeah.
Like
that's exactly.
That's so rare. It takes a very specific person to look at that and be like, yeah, that dude can model.
Well, young people are growing up in a world now where everything's manufactured. Faces are manufactured. You know.
You have to be a brand nowadays. Like you just like as a person, as a human being, you have to be a brand.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, like, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like,
stressful as hell.
It's stressful, but it's also like our jobs. Everybody's like, we got to do branding. It's like, man, no, like, you know what we should be focusing on is image. You know, what is the image of the person that you're representing? Is it the image that you want to portray?
Yep.
Is it the image? More importantly, is it the image that they want to portray?
For sure.
And taking that image, packaging it in a way that completely. You were talking about identity earlier. Like, I would want someone to see how they're sold and be like, yeah, I can identify with that.
Yes.
Right. Like that's important to me. But like, you know, when it comes to a brand, I want my people to build their image, have a lot of success, and then make their own brands that are products that, like, if they decide they don't want that brand anymore, they can get rid of it. The problem is people are forcing humans to become brands.
Yes.
And you're like, but then when they don't want to be that brand anymore, they have fucking mental breakdowns.
Yes.
And like, because they can't just get rid of themselves.
You know? It's like they're a walking brand. That's just who they are. It's like the human and the brand are totally merged, you know, till death do us part.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and how do you age with that?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like you just have identity crisis for forever.
I mean,
so
you can't be a rock star dying at 27. Like that's not gonna happen. I don't want that to happen to me. Like
yeah, no, of course. So I guess what I'm saying is that you have an image, and then like yes, maybe this bracelet becomes your brand, and you decide you don't want to make bracelets anymore. It's gone. But like your identity isn't attached to it.
Exactly.
And like young people now are really their identities are more and more attached to what they wear.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm okay with that actually is because instead of being like bummed like my generation if you can't afford a Tommy Hilfiger sweater or hoodie or whatever.
Yeah.
Your generation goes out and makes it.
For
you
sure.
do it yourself.
For sure.
So like I think that that's okay. I think that you can figure out like when identity is based on clothing, but the people are like, well, this is a jacket. I'm gonna put this patch on it. I'm gonna rip this. I'm gonna do this, and you do it yourself. That's a little different because then you're expressing yourself.
I love being here in LA right now. I mean, we're living in a time right now where we just have all these like just super badass artists, just really cool kids that just set trends that go like all across the country
and globally, and it's wild.
Just simply because they like it and they don't give a shit about what people think. And it's like, even for me, living in LA has totally opened my eyes to all the creatives that are out here, just living here. And obviously throughout modeling here in LA, just meeting all the people that I've had the opportunity to meet, there's still so many that I haven't met yet and that in the future could be creating like insane art with. And I mean, there's so many people that have like their identity isn't necessarily tied to like for instance, last year I had this like total like mental breakdown because I was like, oh fuck, like I kind of think that modeling is like 1000% my identity. And for so like pretty much like half the year I was just kind of beating myself up because I remember I want to say what triggered it was I was at a casting one time and the casting director was like, all right, you guys came out and there's a bunch of models there, and was like, when you go in, when we ask you what you like to do and like what your hobbies are, don't say that you work out and don't say that you like to model. And I just remember like light bulb went off in my head and I was like, oh fuck, because obviously like I had stuff going on the side, but I was like who am I like outside of modeling? Because when I started,
so when the casting person said that, did you were you like, wait a minute, I like to work out and I like to model, or were you like,
well, I thought it was funny at first.
Well, yeah, but were you like, yeah, that's the thing.
I was like,
because
it's
did it
true.
Make you stop and think, is that all I do is work out and model?
Well, it was like, of course, models work out, models like modeling, I hope.
Yeah, I mean,
do.
Why, yeah, exactly. Don't do it if you don't like it. It's
but
not.
If that's
it's
all
not the
you
job.
do, then it's like it's not the most sustainable thing. When you got to add slashes to your name, you got to have stuff going on the side.
Well, life happens too, and God forbid someone you break your arm. How much modeling are you gonna do for the next 6 months?
For sure. Yeah, and it's just one of those things where initially I thought it was hilarious because everyone in the room just seemed like they just got
they froze.
They're so
like
caught off guard.
Like?
Like, oh fuck, what else do I say? Like, just like in the casting room, just like nervous now because they're like, what do I say? But I just thought it was funny. But then it kind of made me think like, I've been modeling for at that point 6 years, and when I first started, I went from not knowing anything about it to being married to the game, basically. Like it was my entire identity. It was my entire life because I was obsessed. I grew up in a town where collaborating with artists wasn't a thing. I grew up in a town where being creative, being artistic was not okay, like just not acceptable. I mean, you were just totally judged for wanting to create art and be an artist and to, kind of stick out. I mean, you really did.
What do you think that was?
I mean, everybody, especially growing up and going to school, I wasn't really one to have the best grades, to be completely honest. And I mean, I grew up in a town where it wasn't like everybody, is going to school, might go to, a state school. It was like, it was basically just expected of you to go straight to a 4-year. And
college.
yeah, I mean, there was kids in my school that were going to Harvard, that were going to Stanford,
Wow.
UC Davis, UCLA.
Wow.
And I remember there was a day where everybody wore shirts of their college.
Yeah.
And here I am, just like,
No shirt.
well, I just feel like an absolute piece of shit because here I am showing up with the same shirt that I probably wore 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's something that like I've always pushed back against. Luckily, you know, I mean, my father's my father's a musician. My stepfather, it was a general foreman in like the decorators union, and he was all about having a craft. And he talked about since I was a young age, like
so smart.
He's just like, listen. He's like, he hated. I mean, he was punk rock too. Like he was like he was gonna be like as a freshman he would have been the starting pitcher on the baseball team.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to cut his hair, and he said fuck you, and he quit
like,
baseball.
Bye.
I'm like that's, you know, did you ever regret that? He's like, no, like
no.
that's who I was.
Yeah.
But
and that's the thing about school is like I don't regret anything that came out of that because you know I may have felt, you know, it just kind of shitty, just like not really the overachieving type, or you know, just like it made me feel like I wasn't like a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started modeling, I think I became so obsessed because
with excelling because you had to prove something.
Yeah, it showed me that yes, I can work my fucking ass off. Like if I really want something, like I just will not take no for an answer. Like if I see something and I want to do something, and that's what's so cool about, you know, all this art stuff that I've been doing on the side is that this is also another reminder that, you know, I'm passionate about something else, and I can
really healthy.
Sit in one place for 13 to 15 hours straight and, you know, do my art, my paintings, you know, whatever that is, and it just shows me like I can do this. Like if I really want something, like it's just another reminder that, you know, I'm able to really work my ass off for it.
Well, that's great. So I think that we probably are getting there time-wise, and I just wanted to wrap up with you talking about the show one last time and making sure that people go.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
So
the show is on Saturday, so save the date, September 7th. And yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Just a bunch of people getting together, drinks, food, music. They got a DJ. They got burgers.
That's gonna be really cool.
It's a really, really cool space. It's right. There's a huge AstroTurf lawn, and everybody's gonna be setting up on the lawn. And
that's excellent.
And it's just so fun because all these creatives. I mean, there's so many people. If you look up the roster, I mean, it's just like the most like badass art. Like the guy who runs it, his name is Christian. He goes by Thrifty Da Vinci, and he goes and takes these really like very prim and proper photos and paintings, and he'll kind of do his own rendition of like the times now, like on top of it.
The version of it? Okay.
Yeah, and they're so fucking dope. They're so, like, honestly, it's the best. Like
the name is incredible too, Thrifty Da Vinci.
I mean, it's badass. And I mean, I have my friend Maddie, who is a graphic designer, and I mean, just the stuff at the last show that I went to, she actually made a card deck, and all the cards. I mean, I remember I was like, I'm buying a deck of cards off of you. Like, don't give it to me. Like, I will buy it from you. Because, you know, it's like all your friends are like, oh, here, take this. Like, I have an extra one. Take it. You're like, no, like, I'm supporting your art. I'm going to buy it. So I just like looking at all the stuff that she made last time with her graphic design work. I mean, it's just like, you just look at it and you're like, God, these kids are so fucking cool. Like, it's just, it's so neat.
That's great.
So
everybody go.
Everybody
go. It's going to be a really great time, and that sounds like
I wanted to
more
also
fun than
mention,
any of our other people's children's shows. I'm definitely going to be there.
I wanted to mention I'm also going to be selling some limited edition pieces at the show as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick up the garments right before the show, and I'm so stoked. I actually, it's funny because when I went to go, you know, get this stuff made, I I just wanted full control over everything. So it's like I picked out all the garments, like I just everything, and I was just like so stoked about just being able to have like my art, just to maybe at some point like see someone wearing it, and because this is just like, you know, the limited edition stuff. Like I'll definitely be making more stuff in the future.
Yeah, no, the pants and everything you've made that I've seen online is super fly. So give the people your Instagram handle so they can check out some of the stuff that you posted. And
yeah, so you can check out, I have a little, I don't know, what do you call those things, like the highlights on Instagram, but
yeah.
I put this out on my story yesterday. My Instagram handle is Holy Slugs.
Yeah.
One time someone thought at a meeting that my Instagram was Holy Sluts, and she was like, oh, that's great, I love that. And I was like, what?
Holy Slugs.
But no, Holy Slugs. And yeah, I've just been posting the flyers, posting, you know.
Which are excellent too. I mean, everything about it's been great.
But yeah,
cool.
Save the date, come check it out. I mean, you know, just, it's going to be like fucking badass. I'm just